Journalists and Doctor Sapuri awarded the Order of the Star of Melanesia. Law Reform Commission to review colonial laws. And visiting U.S. medical team completes assessment.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. This year's Investiture Ceremony was held at the Government House on Thursday. The Orders of Papua New Guinea honours and awards were presented to more than 70 people for their services to Papua New Guinea. Most recipients were citizens of other countries who have made significant contribution to the country's development. Two journalists, Sean Dorney and Frenzalbert Joku, were presented with the Order of the Star of Melanesia. Also presented the Order of the Star of Melanesia was Professor Doctor Sapuri for services to community and health.
The Orders of Papua New Guinea's Honours and Awards is Papua New Guinea's own system. It was formally established on the 23rd of August 2005 by the authority of the Queen and the Head of State. The Order of Papua New Guinea consists of three separate orders. The Order of Logohu. Logohu in Motu means the bird of paradise, the nation's popular icon as its principal order, the Order of the Star of Melanesia, and the Order of Valor. In addition, there are 8 medals to recognize specific services in the state services and the community. During the investiture ceremony, Professor Doctor Sapuri was invested with the insignia of the Companion of the Order of the Star of Melanesia.
I was so humbled by the fact that I was sitting among a lot of other Papua New Guineans, ordinary Papua New Guineans who, quietly work their way around doing things for our country, and to see them also today standing and coming forward to receive an award is a very humbling experience.
Despite facing so many challenges, Professor Sapuri has touched the lives of 585,000 Papua New Guineans through their medical treatment, performed surgeries, and has delivered so many babies. His daughters, Nina and Bonita, were there with him when he was awarded this medal. Also invested with the insignia of the Companion of the Order of the Star of Melanesia was Frenzalbert Joku. He was awarded for his significant contribution in the print media and public policy development of the early government of Papua New Guinea and the promotion of relations with the Papuan region of the Republic of Indonesia.
My life in Papua New Guinea began in a refugee camp, and I graduated from refugee camp, and I rose even to serve in the highest office in this land. That is a great honor, and only the people of Papua New Guinea, leaders of this country, and God would have allowed me to do that.
Joku said he received the honor on behalf of everyone who earned it.
I'm glad that in receiving the award today, that the government, particularly the Honors and Awards Committee, noted my role in reaching out and embracing the region of Papua within the Republic of Indonesia, and at least promote an agenda of peace. Peace within Papua, peace within Indonesia, but also peace for Papua New Guinea, the Pacific region, and also the Asian region. I'm committed to that, and I will keep pushing for that.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
The Constitution and Law Reform Commission is working together with various stakeholders and different government agencies to review laws. Speaking at the presentation of the Disability Authority Bill this week, CLRC Director Drafts and Advisory Lois Stanley says most laws are colonial by nature and need to be reviewed.
The Constitution and Law Reform Commission review laws based on direction by the head of state or by request from the public. Currently, CLRC is working with the Department of Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs on the review of the organic law on national and local level government elections. CLRC Director Drafts and Advisory Lois Stanley says they are also working with the Department of Justice to establish a Human Rights Commission.
There are so many other laws that we're also reviewing with them, and that includes the Lukauting Pikinini Act and the regulation, the National Volunteer Service, and now the Human Rights Commission, We're working together with Department of Justice in the review of the, not the review, but the establishment of the Human Rights Commission.
Speaking at the presentation of the Disability Authority Bill on Tuesday, the director said most laws are outdated and must be updated. One of these laws is the law on the use of drugs and alcohol. She said currently there are teams working to review this law.
And I mean, when I joined CLRC, I'm surprised to see that some of our laws are still colonial by nature. We have about 400 laws that are colonial laws, and we are really working on that, but it depends on the resources that the government will assist us. So currently, the team are on the ground seeking views of the people in terms of the review of drugs and alcohol in the country. Most of the laws in that area, they are colonial laws.
The CLRC, in collaboration with Department of Community Development, have also drafted a Disability Authority Bill, which is now in its final stage of consultation. The bill is to have an authority to address issues affecting people living with disability. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea will host the International Mediation and Arbitration Conference next year. In preparation for this event, the National Judiciary Service officially launched a website to help those attending the conference register online and also gain other important information about the conference and host city. The dates for this conference are set for the 25th to the 29th of March 2019.
Over 300 participants, both international and national, are expected to attend the International Mediation and Arbitration Conference, which will be held in Port Moresby come March of next year. The conference will be co-hosted by the PNG National Judiciary, PNG Department of Attorney General, and the PNG Law Society.
This is the first ever International Mediation and Arbitration Conference, which will be hosted in Port Moresby from 25th to the 29th of March 2019.
In preparation, the National Judiciary Services officially launched a website to help those who intend to participate at the conference. Once in the website, one can see a tentative program, specific speakers of sessions, information about Port Moresby, and most importantly, one can register online. The 5-day event will be themed on enhancing the rule of law and increasing business confidence in the globalized economy.
One of the topics will be international arbitration, promoting confidence in international business and through building on the rule of law. And journey through international arbitration, introduction to international commercial arbitration.
Justice Kandekasi at the launch also highlighted the importance of this event.
The conference will highlight the benefits of mediation and arbitration and the need for people to utilize those processes more than thinking court all the time. And this is more or less, not Papua New Guinea is not alone, this is a worldwide trend on enabling conflicting parties to make a choice between what process to use for them to go to resolving their conflicts.
The conference will begin on the 25th and ends on the 29th of March 2019. Lilian Sopera Kinea, National EMTV News.
The Works Department recently announced a new Roadworks Program which will focus on long-term maintenance of the Highlands Highway and other national highways in the country. Secretary in charge David Wera yesterday announced the Sustainable Highlands Highway Investment Program for 3 selected sections of the Highlands Highway. With this new program, roads will not only be repaired but maintained over a period of time. Mr. Wera said the same program will be rolled out on national highways in future.
The Sustainable Highlands Highway Investment Program will be funded by a multi-tranche financing facility divided into 3 overlapping tranches and dispersed over a 10-year period. At a cost of 658 million kina, 3 construction contracts, 2 supervision and design consultancies have been awarded to respective contractors last month. Work is expected to commence in 2019.
3 contracts of civil works covering the Najab to Anganofi section. Another section from continuing from Anganofi Bridge all the way to Kakamuga Airport Junction in Mount Hagen. And a separate contract of its own to deal with the landslip and unstable issues faced on the 57 kilometers of the Simbu section of the Highlands Highway.
The Highlands Highway is the top priority national road, with the region responsible for 1/3 of the gross domestic product and 80% of the nation's export. The objective of the SHHIP is to repair, rehabilitate, upgrade and maintain sections of the Highlands Highway. Contracts have been awarded to Chinese construction firms, and Mr. Were has confirmed that these contracts will be subcontracted with local construction firms.
As part of the contract already now, 30 to 40% of these works will be subcontracted to the local small to medium local contractors within the vicinity of the project implementation along those corridors, and local participation is also encouraged.
This is the first time a project like the SHHIP is to be undertaken in the country, where roadworks will initially start with repair and then followed up with a commitment of long-term maintenance. Charlene Eri, National MTV News.
You're with National MTV News. Still to come, doctors from Colorado Children's Hospital and their visit to PNG. Medicine shortage still felt in rural areas, and Hope PNG FM launched. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to the news. A team from the Children's Hospital Colorado has concluded their tour of PNG, visiting medical facilities in 4 different provinces. They conducted assessments on the facilities and health workers in 7 health centers. The team is working in partnership with PNG Tribal Foundation to improve services in these areas.
Within the past 5 days, the team from Children's Hospital Colorado have carried out medical assessments in Enga, Mount Hagen, Rabaul, and Port Moresby. Some of their assessments focused on health facilities, medical supplies and equipment, and training and education of the nurses, doctors, and community health workers. CEO of Children's Hospital Colorado, Jenna Hausman, said their goal was to find the right set of actions and programs to customize to the health centers and teams they have visited.
I also think how we talk about supplies and medications as a country is going to be important for PNG to continue to try to solve. There were a lot of shortages of things that the doctors and nurses in the health centers need access to take care of their patients.
CEO Hausman said her team will continue to follow up on health centers like Sopas and Yampu in Enga province to identify medical equipment that will be helpful to them. She also added that basic things can be done to improve health care. However, systematic things like road access needs more support from the government leaders.
Also potentially frame up a couple of recommendations that we can share with political leaders that just are observations, and they can use those as they think about policy and reform at the governmental level.
President of the PNG Tribal Foundation, Gary Bustin, said CHCO is a long-time partner of Tribal Foundation, and they will be working to bring the best experts in PNG to improve child health care. The team from CHCO will debrief on their assessments and come up with recommendations for the specific health facilities they have visited. Patricia Keamo, National MTV News.
Villagers from Asini in Morbe's Huon Gulf district have raised concerns on the continuous shortage of medicine. Village Councillor Michael Maki said a lot of villagers are affected. Other health centres in Morbe are also experiencing the same. Lucy Kopana reports from Leh.
Michael Maki is the village councillor here at Asini. He had tears in his eyes when he spoke about how medicine shortage is affecting villagers. Asini is located along the coast of the Huon Gulf in Morobe. Villagers here have the option to go to the Salamoa Health Centre and the Buakap Clinic. However, the Salamoa Health Centre was closed due to recent fighting in the area. The villagers here at Asini walk about 30 minutes to get to the nearest clinic at Buakap. Most times they're turned away because of medicine shortage.
Na inogat help him sa kamlo side blong housik lo kisim marasin. So as time ipla come back lo plus no more hope lo go back ken lo kisim marasin.
Asini villagers aren't the only ones being affected by medicine shortage. Last month, urban clinics in Leh confirmed that they have been experiencing medicine shortage for several months. The Engau CEO, Dr. Christopher Kennyhead, said because the hospital gets its supplies on a semi-regular basis, they have been buying medicine to supply the hospital.
Medicine supply, I don't think in this country I think it's a big problem for all hospitals. I don't think it's just Engau.
Asini Village Councillor Michael Maki said it's been going on for too long. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Leh schools need more standard-based curriculum materials to roll out next year, says Leh District Education Manager Laga Kalmu. So far, few schools have received the teachers' guides and materials. However, many schools still await their supply. This was confirmed by teachers EMTV spoke to. Mary Boyonigani reports from Leh.
Schools in Leh are preparing to roll out the standard-based curriculum next year. Teachers have received training with teaching guides and syllabus to implement the curriculum, says Leh District Education Manager Laga Kalmu. However, Mr. Kalmu confirms that materials are limited.
The basic materials, curriculum and teacher's guide for the standard-based curriculum. Unfortunately, that is really insufficient as revealed by most of the schools.
With a total of 22 primary schools in Leh, teachers from these schools will now prepare to teach from this new curriculum. The head teacher from Tanam Primary School outside of Leh, Rixen Kamban, also says the limited SPC materials is a challenge.
Because at this time, I'm only giving enough resources. I'm not talking about implementing a lot of challenges. But let me help him really workload for teachers from OBA to standard base.
With insufficient SPC materials, Mr. Kalmu appeals to the Education Department to deliver more materials.
My appeal to the department is if you want the changes to be more effective, then they must send the SPC curriculum in materials. Enough for all the schools, all the teachers.
Meanwhile, teachers from Gantum Primary in Leh are ready to roll out the SPC next year, according to head teacher Mrs. Martina Tanialu.
And the school, let me play heavy in service, the school finish, the standard-based curriculum. The teachers are ready to implement standard-based curriculum next year.
Mary Boyanigani, National EMTV News, Leh.
A new committee for the tuition fee-free education policy was commissioned on Thursday by Morbe's Provincial Administrator Bat Ipambonj. The committee will ensure all schools receive their teaching and learning materials on time. The committee is headed by the Chairman and Deputy Provincial Administrator Robin Bazinu. The committee was formed after the signing of the MOA of the 85% decentralization of TFF funds to Morbe Province by the Education Department. The Provincial Administrator administration has vowed to ensure the money is not taken out unnecessarily. Public schools in the country face overcrowding, especially in the urban areas. With the growing population of school-aged children in urban areas, private schools are looking to capture some of these numbers, but it is quite an expensive exercise.
Without formal education, going through life in the modern age would be tough. The government provides tuition fee-free education in public schools, but the demand for education continues to remain high. As a privately run school, the Waigani Christian College in the National Capital District tries to meet the demand of a growing school-aged population. The school was established in 1993 with 30 students, and now it has
more than 1,500 students every year enrolled, from kindergarten up to grade 12.
The school has had NCD Governor Powers Pakop help with building a few classrooms, but does the government help with funding? That is apart from the recently donated science lab under construction at the school.
We used to get one-off payment like 100 kina per head within a year, but it's not enough.
Okay, so what is the cost of running a privately run institution like the Waigani Christian College?
So all the teachers, from kindergarten up to primary school, it costs around 40,000, more than 40,000 every fortnight, and it costs around more than 1.2 or 3 million a year.
The amount mentioned is minus the utility bills and other running costs. Tuition fees are the main source of income, but most parents don't complete their fees on time, and this results in commercial bank loans, adding to the cost. But the school is more concerned about the aging fleet of school buses. School Director Benjamin Moole and the public saw the recent APAC buses on the media and around the city, and now the school is appealing to the governor of NCD and the APAC minister to consider the school for 5 buses after the APAC audit is completed.
NCD Governor Powers Pakop and Minister for APAC, Mr. Justin Tasenko, if they could consider to give Waigani Christian College 5 school buses.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV News.
The Papua New Guinea Union Mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church launched their first Adventist radio network in the country on Thursday in Lae. Hope FM 107.5 is currently broadcasting in Lae and Port Moresby. PNG Union Mission President Pastor Kepsi Elodo said the coverage will extend throughout the country once they set up the towers.
Pacific Division President.
The launching of the first Adventist radio network in PNG, Hope FM 107.5, was officiated by the head of Seventh-day Adventist Church in South Pacific, Pastor Glenn Townend.
Hey, me hamamas, pikla hamamas, because time me picking any, lo time lo independence, misa live lo here. Close to lo here, where radio station, lo display house and me stop next door. And me have him some radio program where we got a national broadcasting commission or display time where all 7 day only walk in. So all 7 day only so Adventist only have him radio some radio messages long play time back to the 70s. But now only got station blow all yet where only can help him all man blow Papua New Guinea. Hey, and big play hamamas. You saw display song or nogat?
A radio test was done during the launching on Thursday by Pastor Townend and the president for PNG Union Mission of the SDA Church, Pastor Kepsi Elodo. It was broadcasted live in Lae and Port Moresby.
Radio by Karamapimol area also health. He got also health promotions, health awareness, and at the same time education.
In 2011, the PNG Union Mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church decided to establish a radio and television network. Pastor Andrew Oppis is the man who initiated the project. He said the SDA mission chose radio in order to reach the wider community.
We realized that TV might reach some parts of the country, but the radio will reach a lot of people, and radio can reach people through mobile phones as well.
The studio is located here at PNG Union Mission SDA Church headquarters in Lae. The PNG SDA Mission will soon engage in television. Meanwhile, the Adventist Hope FM will be broadcasting nationwide on 107.5 FM. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
Among stories making headlines overseas when we come back, protests in France continue and the UN warns of humanitarian crisis in Yemen. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, a massive security operation is underway in Paris in response to violent protests. Tourist attractions and shops are closed, while 90,000 police are on duty across the entire country.
In Paris today has been gloomy. A sense of dread and preparations for the worst were acknowledgements that there's little reason to believe the events of last Saturday won't be repeated tomorrow. The riots that blighted the city centre last week were the worst seen here for decades. And to try to prevent more of this, the government caved in midweek, scrapping plans for a hike in fuel tax, the impetus for the protests in the first place. However, that government climb down has created a protest bandwagon, joined today by thousands of students who marched through Paris demanding no increase in fees. The danger that things might get ugly again has been underlined by these pictures of more than 140 school pupils being arrested in a northwestern town yesterday. Some of those forced to kneel at a wall were under 16, and many people have been outraged by the seemingly jackboot tactics employed by the police. Witnesses say most of the school pupils had been protesting peacefully. 17-year-old Yasser was among those detained. 24 hours later, his mother, scared to be identified, told me she'd heard nothing.
Je suis très inquiète, j'ai pas de nouvelles. I'm very worried. I have no news. I don't know how he is, and I don't know what's going to happen to him.
This afternoon, the French Interior Minister was pictured inspecting some of the equipment that'll be employed by the almost 90,000 police officers who will be on duty across the country tomorrow.
The United Nations has warned the humanitarian crisis in Yemen is getting worse, and without immediate and meaningful action, millions could face starvation. Both sides in the civil war are negotiating in Sweden, but on the ground, time is running out.
10-year-old Abrar Ibrahim was slowly starving, trapped in one of the most violent pockets of the war, until her family escaped and got her to the hospital.
Why did she get so hungry?
Her mother tells Dr. Mahdi Saif there was so little food, Abrar eventually got too weak to eat at all. Next, Dr. Saif takes me to see 3-year-old Yusuf Adel fighting for breath. He's got diphtheria, and it can be deadly. A quarter of the patients die.
Where does he catch diphtheria?
Most of them not vaccinated. Yeah, because the war.
Sick as these kids are, most are on the mend, thanks to a medical program funded by UNICEF. But there are so many that international aid hasn't reached. Take the Mishkafa refugee camp near Aden, home to 2,500 people who fled the violence.
Hello, marhaba, marhaba.
We met the Ali family. 6-year-old Hanan has a serious neurological problem.
How long has she been ill?
When she falls and hurts herself, the wounds attract dirt and flies, and there is nothing her parents can do. In a place like this, adequate medical care might as well be on another planet.
Donald Trump's under pressure after his former lawyer revealed he was keeping the U.S. president updated on a possible business deal in Russia throughout the presidential campaign. The information's been released by Robert Mueller, the man leading an investigation into Russian interference who Mr. Trump accuses of carrying out a witch hunt.
Bracing for the special counsel's court filings tonight, President Trump launched a series of Twitter attacks on Robert Mueller, and he declared, "We will be doing a major counter-report to the Mueller report. This should never again be allowed to happen to a future president of the United States." Already 87 pages done, he tweeted. All this as the increasingly embattled president took fire from the Secretary of State he fired, Rex Tillerson, offering up a harsh assessment of the president he served.
He is a challenging individual, a man who is pretty undisciplined, doesn't like to read, doesn't read briefing reports, doesn't like to get into the details of a lot of things.
Tillerson saying he needed to remind the president to obey the law.
We did not have a common value system. When the president would say, well, here's what I want to do, and here's how I want to do it. And I'd have to say to him, well, Mr. President, I understand what you want to do, but you can't do it that way. It violates the law.
After Tillerson's words today, the president tweeted, Tillerson didn't have the mental capacity needed. He was dumb as a rock. He was lazy as hell.
An English sailor has been plucked to safety in a challenging rescue in the Southern Ocean. Susie Goodall was coming forth in a solo round-the-world race when her yacht capsized during a storm 3,000 kilometers west of South America.
Her on board. She's reported to be uninjured and in good spirits. It was an ordeal that began 50 hours earlier with this distress call in the teeth of a ferocious storm.
The boat is destroyed. Inside and out is destroyed. We rolled and I threw across the cabin and I think I was knocked out for a moment or two.
Her yacht had lost its mast and water had to be pumped out. In one of the remotest places on Earth, she had a long wait for help to arrive. She was tossed about, seasick, in a disabled boat in heavy seas.
She's had her time filled getting prepared for this liftoff. So the adrenaline will have been running, and she'll be elated now.
It was a difficult rescue right to the end. The engine on Susie's yacht kept cutting out as it manoeuvred alongside the rescue ship, the Tian Fu. And then the first news of success in a brief tweet. On the ship, she wrote, followed by 3 exclamation marks. In the time waiting to be rescued with a broken cooker, she said she'd been longing for a cup of tea. So it was no surprise that in the second message she said she had enjoyed a very good hot drink. Susie is now on her way to Chile. Her dream of sailing solo around the world is over for now, but at least she's safe.
Up next, we'll bring you some sporting updates in Chukai Sports. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. PNG Boxing Federation's exhibition match between local and international fighters is scheduled for the 22nd of this month. 6 local fighters will take on their opponents in 2 weeks' time at the Sir John Guy's Stadium.
Tickets are going on for sale at 300 kina ringside, 100 kina inner stand and 30 kina for the outer stands. Tickets are being sold at trophy house shops and any other participating outlets. 6 local boxers in the 54 to 67 kg division will battle it out against 6 international boxers at the Sir John Guy Stadium.
We have our national tournament, we have our national games, and we come up with the champion. They compete among themselves, and then we reach the champion, and then we reach out to have the international bout.
Wafewa also said that this is the first Oceania match and hopes to sell the title belt to the World Boxing Council.
We're trying to push this organization to the next stage of the world, and Papua New Guinea also. They must be eye look. We have the opportunity to step in the, big fights like that.
Tamara Pia Agavi, National EMTV Sports.
To overseas cricket now, and New Zealand has beaten Pakistan. While some of their regular performance helped put the Black Caps in a position to win the decider on the final day, it was an unlikely hero who helped seal their victory.
At 34, Will Somerville probably thought he'd kissed his chance to play international cricket goodbye. Instead, he helped make history.
That's it! New Zealand's first away series win against Pakistan since 1969.
Still feels like a dream. I'm still pinching myself. I'm incredibly proud and proud to have won for the Black Caps.
The spinner picked up 3 crucial second innings wickets, including 2 in 2 balls in his first over.
I can see ball on glove.
His 7 wickets in 56 overs is the 4th best for a Kiwi on debut.
Kane gave me a lot of trust with the ball, and I was trusting myself, and I sort of thought that I could do what I did, but the fact that it actually happened, it's a buzzy feeling.
Fellow rookie Ajaz Patel backed up his impressive first Test debut with 3 final day wickets.
Inside edge, yes it is.
Pakistan went to lunch on a pitiful 55 for 5. A couple of hours later, New Zealand's 123-run victory was sealed.
Straight up.
The winning catch fittingly taken by man of the match Kane Williamson, whose 139 with the bat kept the Kiwis in it. But typically the captain deflected the credit, this time to his inexperienced spinners.
For those guys to really step up, show the class that they do have, and make such an impact in this series is a huge hand in us, I guess, getting across the line.
The Black Caps have won 5 of their last 6 Test series, but beating Pakistan in their backyard for just the second time is impressive.
A great game that guys will remember forever, I'm sure.
While their heads may be in a spin at the moment, they now fly home to prepare for Sri Lanka next weekend.
True Guys Sports continues with more after the break. Stay tuned.
True Guys Sports.
Welcome back to True Guys Sports. The Rookie Sevens concept in rugby union has been the competition for Port Moresby-based players to showcase their talents in the Sevens format. The tournament has been going on for the past 4 years to help foster the growth of rugby union Sevens in Papua New Guinea. To keep fit, our national players that take part in international tournaments also play in the local Sevens competitions.
The Rookie Sevens concept is all about showcasing rugby union Sevens talent in Port Moresby. Port Moresby has a reasonable following in rugby union and has 2 major town competitions, the Capital Rugby Union and the National Capital District Rugby Union. Competition aside, the sport has been put first, and the talent from the 2 competitions along with suburban teams are in the competition.
Rookie Sevens, we open it to anyone who wants to participate. If you see the teams today, there are teams from NCDRU, there are teams from CRU, there are teams from suburbs who just want to put a team, and that's what we want to encourage. Moresby is growing at a higher rate, and there's a lot of teams we cannot accommodate all, and it's good to see them, whether they come in and put a team with their name, and that's what we want to see.
The sport of Sevens is the shorter version of the Rugby Union 15s, and with only 7 players on each side of the field, it gives room for players to use their flexibility and speed to score. Keeping the crowd entertained and glued to the competition with only 7 minutes each half. And the Rookie Sevens hasn't disappointed the fans, a family atmosphere with entertaining rugby. Rookies in the code of rugby union turned out in numbers. Even the open men's and women's teams had a field day, indulging in competition despite the heat wave in Port Moresby.
Some teams are feeling they're national rep players, but it's all about getting young kids, boys and girls, to try the game of rugby. Hopefully, they can have a look at and have a pathway developed for them or program, whatever, who wants to take them. And this is the whole reason why we're having the Rookie Sevens.
The Rookie Sevens tournament coordinator Silosi Druma says the only way for PNG to improve on the national stage is through more Sevens tournaments. The more games played, the more competitive and conditioned the players are to keep up with the fast-paced game.
Always say, like, if you play a lot of game, you'll be good at it. things that can be corrected, things can be developed further, and having this kind of tournament, whether it's in PNG or Mosby or around the country, it's very good to really get the boys to try the game. And we had identified a lot of people in the past from having this kind of tournament around the country.
The competition ends tomorrow with the Bava Park Rugby Union Stadium to host the finals under floodlights, capping off a weekend of entertaining rugby sevens. Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
So netball, New Zealand's former star Wendy Frew has a new job now, but in another announcement, she's helping to sort through the Silver Ferns' problems after the team's poor performance this year.
She's closed the curtain on netball after 16 years. Wendy Frew! But Wendy Frew's still reminiscing over what she calls the highlight of her career, this year's ANZ Premiership final.
I watched it over and over, probably too many times. I could tell you where every pass went and where we got the turnovers, but yeah, just the unreal game to be part of, and I'm still so proud to win that. And
now she's on to her next challenge, business, a clothing line called Who Told You That?
My younger brother Matthew, he's a bit of a trickster in the family, a bit of a joker, so we'd be around having a yarn at the table and someone would tell a story or something that had happened and he'd kind of bum you out and just say, who told you that? So it was a bit of banter, and it's just picked up down home, so that's kind of where it come from.
In amongst sales, the Frews have moved north to Rotorua for 6 months for husband Trent's job with the fire service, 6-year-old son Archie at school, and the hotel playground suits 3-year-old Indy just fine. If that wasn't enough, Frew's been handed another challenge to be on the high performance panel as part of Netball New Zealand's review after a disappointing campaign this year for the Silver Ferns.
The big thing with Com Games is the girls and the management didn't go to there to get 4th place, and they're just as disappointed as New Zealand is. I think the big thing out of that is they've put their hand up and agreed that the Silver Ferns' performance at Coms wasn't good enough, and they've put together a really good group of people, and we're working really hard to ensure we improve netball.
Frew reckons this year couldn't be beaten after a dream end to her career, but she was wrong.
We're expecting number 3. Pretty exciting times. I guess being pregnant now, it means I can't go fill in for Steele.
A Southlander through and through, she may be retired, but a coaching gig with the team closest to her heart could be just around the corner.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details for the next 24 hours coming up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow, in the southern region, partly cloudy in Port Moresby, mostly fine in Daru and Alotau, afternoon showers in Kerema, and showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta. In the Momase region, mostly fine in Lae and Wewak, showers in Wau and Medang, and a shower or two in Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, and in Kimbe, partly cloudy. And in the Highlands region, showers with fog in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small ships, but first there is a renewal strong wind warning for all coastal waters of Hood Point to Arama Coast to Samari Island, including Messima to Sudest and Rossel Islands, and from Finschhafen through Vitia Strait to Siasi and Long Island and to Medang. Strong southwest to northwest winds of 25 to 34 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas and high winds. Waves rather. All small crafts and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before and after going out to sea. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru, to Kiwa Island to Kerema, Yule Island with waters of Samari Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, seas of 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of Yule Island to Hood Point to Samari Island with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, including waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, Dampier Strait, including Siasi Island to Long Island and Medang, seas of 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Medang to Bogia to Wewak to Aitape Vanimo, northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 1 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Ireland to East and West New Britain to Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas moderate to rough with south to southwest winds of 10 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with northwest winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the way it is this Saturday. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.